To what extent do you think workplace factors contribute to a psychologically healthy workplace?
I think they're absolutely a significant contributor, and that's particularly so where there's little that's done to actually address them. In your experience as a HR manager, Rolf, in a law firm, what are some of the things that law firms can do to promote wellbeing?
There's a whole range of things that a firm can do, and in fact that they are doing. I think the very first thing they need to do, and as I said, many are doing, is that they are creating awareness and understanding around mental health and wellbeing, and that goes a long way to reducing stigma.
Right.
It goes a long way to demonstrating to the business that they understand what are the factors, the work factors and the personal factors that could create an unhealthy work environment, and that they can do a lot by way of training and education in that, providing resources and support for people. And that's happening in many ways. So you've got firms that have mental health first aid officers or wellbeing officers who have been trained to be able to assist people and refer them on if they have mental health issues. There is training in resilience, in managing stress and coping with stress that is being offered in many firms. Quite a few firms have identified really powerful and influential internal champions. So these are senior people in the business who've had a lived experience with a mental health problem, who talk about it openly and who champion the cause. And that goes a long way to destigmatising mental health issues at work. Policies on things like mental health first aid, things like how the firm is going to deal with psychological health and manage psychological risk, how the organisation is going to focus on wellbeing of its staff through proper policies, and then implementing action items associated with those sort of policies. Those are a few things. Some firms, our firm, for example, has a wellbeing and mental health resilience committee at very senior level across the firm, which engages with the business and the board of the firm to ensure there's a strategy in place and appropriate investment in training, in education, in supporting initiatives that all go to addressing a more safe psychological workplace. Things like the Tristan Jepson Memorial Foundation guidelines are a fantastic resource that you can work to, and you can use those to audit your current practices, and you can do a risk assessment to see where in your business you could be at greater risk. So there's a whole heap of things that a firm can do. The most important thing is to deal with stigma and have open conversations and provide support for people and work strategically at trying to create a healthy workplace.
Right. So what you describe, Rolf, is right from the very upper echelons of the organisation, filtering down that culture, reducing the stigma, and arming yourself with many, many strategies as a manager to deal with mental health issues.
That's exactly right, and I think this goes to some of your points earlier that there is a lot that a team leader can do, or a manager or a supervisor of a team, and if they are educated and they are more aware of what sort of the signs could be, changes in demeanour, changes in productivity or performance, and then they know how to support a person or who approach. The firm has policies in behind, other experts in behind, and can refer on to EAP or law care and so forth. You're starting to see a framework emerging of how to deal with and respond to mental health issues. And at the same time, looking at work practices, looking at work delegation, looking at hours of work, looking at exit interview data, looking at other metrics to see how is the workplace operating, are there stresses that we should be managing and so forth. All of a sudden you seem to get a holistic approach that really should start to get some results in creating much safer and healthier places to work.
I think law firms need to acknowledge to their staff the problems that can arise when work levels are too high. They need to be true to their rhetoric. In other words, they've got to walk the walk and not talk the talk. They need to demonstrate the fact that where that happens, there is a solution to it, there is an alternative. I think they need to set goals for their people in a realistic way and not give them any indication at all of what they might consider a successful young lawyer is or isn't doing. Guide them down that path, because they can catastrophise their position at the drop of a hat. They can overdevelop their senses of responsibility. They really do need guidance from people in that regard, and inevitably it's going to come from the senior people. So an awareness amongst your staff that it's okay to feel that way, and that is going to take a long time to perfect, but it really is the only way to do it. To try and do it another way, you will force it underground, and the tragedy of that is that the people that you never expected to suffer are the ones that suffer.